I'm just trying to get OBS working.
No worries.
We may need to go just directly live on YouTube here. I think we're gonna start moving off of YouTube.
Okay.
We're keeping the channel. Like I'm not doing anything with that. But if YouTube decides to strike the whole thing, I
What's
want
going
to.
on? I thought they were being nice to us all of a sudden.
Well, they are, but they don't like me posting the public meeting videos. I haven't posted any in about a month now. But
What are the videos?
public meetings, public comments at school board meetings and village meetings.
Oh, they're getting upset about that.
Oh yeah, yeah, because the parents are going out there exposing the literature that's in these books.
Oh, I
Just
see.
it's graphic um sexual intercourse. There's no other way around it. That's what it is. But
That's
these
why.
parents are out there like reading it to people, to
Right.
the board and to the public.
They don't
And
want the content.
no, the board does not. None of these boards have anything to say, and most of the time they don't anyway. But they're trying to get people to be like, oh no, you can't say this because it's too explicit. It's like, yeah, no
That's the
kidding.
point. Yeah. That's the point, I guess. Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna
But as
do
far as
this.
our content, they've been gracious to us.
Oh yeah,
Good. Okay.
I mean TikTok's the only one that's been showing any fuss, and it's kind of silly, really. It's when I think one of them you were bashing Pat Robertson, they struck down. Um, there were maybe two others after that, and then the 9/11 video they wanted to strike the morning of, and I saw that coming from a mile away because usually they let one view happen and then they just lock it. And so
Really?
after an hour, I saw there was only one view on the video. I'm like, oh, they're planning to strike me. So I went in, I privated the video because I had the thumbnail at a different thing. It was like the buildings exploding. So they probably didn't like that for 9/11.
Right.
So I switched it over to George Michael and it passed the censor. So
Okay. All right.
it's over 1,000 views now for that.
Smart move. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just doing whatever we can at this point, but we're getting a lot of reach around, which I'm thankful for.
Yeah, I'm seeing that. That's really, really good.
All right, I'm just on YouTube. I am getting this all
No worries.
finalized.
Yeah, I hope this new move I'll be making will help propel your channel also further. So by getting this show up. So I'm gonna start one called The Unconquerable.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And I'm thinking of like how to do the intro. So I'm gonna have like the swords and I've got the medieval helmet and things like that. I'm just show different the shield, just different stuff and the imagery and try to do a little trailer or intro tag thing and then uh get it going. So yeah, and I'll let you know as soon as that's up.
Yeah, if they're using all the symbology and all that, then why not you do that as well?
Right.
Except having it be meaningful and for good, not
Exactly.
for
Not
what they're
for,
doing.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
I have a few things prepped to show you today.
Perfect. That stuff you found on Linda Burrows was really huge. Um, someone just sent me a thing on Lucas with Bubba Fett, and we were right. And it was to verify what we were talking about, where Lucas did stick in the whole thing from the Immortals, going off the Bubba Fett story. So he did doctor it and change it into our content, where you have the one ungenetically altered son being chosen out of all the ones that are being made. That's right from our screenplay. And so he changed the Boba Fett story. So they verified that that's exactly what he did to stick our thing in. So
It's disgusting.
it is. They go against the, what's already there in order to do it. Make up as they go along, sort it in, get credit for it. What a weak man. So yeah, it is disgusting. They just keep doing it and doing it and doing it, which shows they're at least fans of the work. If they, even though they'll put it down. Robertson's comment was so bizarre back when he said that the Wachowskis are great writers, but it was Matrix was a terrible script, but the Wachowskis are good writers. So he was trying to put down my work while elevating the Wachowskis, while the Wachowskis are claiming the work. It's just insane. They try to have their cake both ways, while they do their stabs, but their obsessiveness about stabs, and they call us obsessive. It's just, then I had a realization about Lenny Coco, where Lenny Coco on the tape, we have him on tape, last call, where he's saying he wants me to write his story, as the author to write his story, after he had said, you're crazy, I don't know you, and then admits that, yes, you were here, and my wife remembers, my granddaughter remembers, all this stuff. And he was able to finally say that after he was told by the attorneys from Warner Brothers not to say that, to say I was crazy. And in that, he says that he wants me to write a story, as he said at the pitch session, right? And so the thing is that we found out that after he dies, they refuse to acknowledge it, even though it's on tape, his request, his final request. They're not going to have it done because they don't want any legitimacy given to the actual author who he had given the pitch session to for his friend Bonaventura. So it's just amazing how far they go against the wishes of writers and such and artists. After their death, they do whatever they want and deny the wishes, such as Philip K. Dick's wish that his work would never be altered. And there's Lucas even doing the same thing. Anyway, that's really standing out. Yeah.
So we're live. We've been live for about 10-15 seconds now, so just letting you know.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, we're here. I'm gonna give a brief introduction, but hi everyone. We're here on the Yissilmissil Productions channel. My name is Steven Yisel. I'm here again with Tom Althouse, the creator of the Immortals, also known as the Matrix. And today we're here the first Saturday of the month. We're trying to do this every Saturday, every first Saturday of every month at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. And we're going to be talking about updates today about like what's been happening currently with Tom's situation and what's been going on with Hollywood and more revelations that we found out about what the players have been up to these days. So I'd like to start off this morning with a screen share because we have a tweet from Elon from 1 a.m. last night. It's pretty fresh. So let me share my screen here. Oh yeah, look at that. So
my God.
He says the irony is that my company is making brain chips. And he posted this meme of the NPC non-playable character guy with a chip being put in his head that says Elon Musk is the enemy. When did this become mainstream to hate on Elon? I mean, I think we're some of the first people on here to bash this guy.
Right, or to make it clear.
And so I also replied to this asshat here. I replied to him. One view. He has the analytics to show how much traffic he gets.
Yeah.
One view on this.
How is that possible?
I said, if you're lucky enough not to be hypnotized by his pontificating, you'd realize Elon is said extinctionist. And he is just laying it out here under guise of speaking truth from a third perspective. And I thought that was a very eloquent response.
Yes, it is.
But one view, you suppressing MF.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Because look at what's
Yeah,
above
look
it.
at this tweet,
27 million.
27 million
27
views.
million views. I'm getting a capture
And
of that.
my reply got 1 view.
Impossible. Impossible. Impossible.
I am blacklisted on Twitter X.
Oh, you are. Look at you. Oh my
Everything that I
God.
post, I've been posting all of our clips. I have about, I think I have 60 up on Twitter. Each one of them gets about 100 views, maybe 1 like, 2 likes. One of the people that like it has a Keanu profile thumbnail thing.
Interesting.
It's just like, come on, guys. They're
Yeah.
so obvious with the censorship that now we're down to I'm just calling him up. He's like, the real fight is not between the right or left, but rather between humanists and extinctionists. It's like, oh, that's interesting, Elon. What else did he say?
That's pretty basic.
Oh, he said something about Israel, because I guess something happened over there.
Yeah, they had Israel just declared war on Hamas.
Oh, check this tweet out now, too. Also yesterday at 9:54 p.m. If there's a big scandal about me, my only request is that it be called Elongate.
What the hell? That's kind of a narcissistic response.
Now I get the joke, but the joke's so old. It's such an old joke, So why would he be bringing up old humor?
And why
But
is he
the
doing
first
it
thing
so
he
late at
says is,
night? Yeah.
"Yeah, at night," and then he's saying the first things out of his mouth, "If there's a big scandal about me." And then people are saying that all of a sudden people are programmed to hate Elon Musk now. Like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
It didn't
Yeah.
come like
Who's
there's
doing the
no
programming?
source. Where'd it
Yeah.
go? Like
Yeah.
everybody was loving on him.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what we're predicting, was that he would have they would start to slap him down because he's not doing his job well enough for the cabal. And so that he's failing in getting everybody to love him, to pull the wool over. So he's losing his usefulness, or the expectations being met from the perspective of the other side. And so that they would start to do like a Will Smith slapdown, where he would be embarrassed and brought down. That's the prediction, because he's not doing his job well enough for the cabal by getting people to follow him and believe he's some kind of messiah. So, and savior. So what's going on is we're calling him out, and it's having an effect. 1 view listed. They're definitely trying to shadow ban you heavily on that. And they're also afraid of anybody hearing or recognizing what you said. So that means that, the response late at night is indicative of a being rattled, their fear. So Elon is rattled that he's making these kinds of things late at night. He's wealthy. He's part of the elite. He does not operate out of normal hours. He's going to shut it down, enjoy his lifestyle. He's not going to be responding late at night unless he's rattled. So he's afraid that that's going to show to his constituent or his bosses, his groomers, that he's not effectual. So that he's going to be responding this way if he's afraid that his bosses are going to be thinking that he's not worth the investment anymore. Let's have somebody else in. What we're thinking what's going to happen, Stephen, is that a woman's going to be groomed to be brought in to try. They're going to try a new angle, since it's definitely not working with Elon Musk, to mislead the public as a savior figure, that they'll have a woman come in and try that. Sort of almost a woke kind of answer they're going to try as they grab anything out of the kitchen sink to try to see if they can fix their situation and get their agenda on track time-wise by, getting someone who will lead the masses by the nose. But people are being too smart. They're actually responding. And anytime you say boo, they're responding. And that's why you're being shadow banned so heavily. But people are understanding, they're getting it. So I'm sure they're not happy with my plan to have a new show now. We'll have you on that. It's like a new show, right? And what are we calling it? The Unconquerable. So that's going to be something where they're going to be very unhappy about that, because their whole strategy from top down is to isolate, destroy, destroy, and alienate, and bastardize, and slander. It's not working. It's not working. The evidence is too strong. The facts are too hard and cold. There's no way around what we're saying. And the crazy card's not working anymore. So it's just like we're just laying it out, laying it out, laying it out. And they don't know how to keep their wall up. It's not working. Go ahead.
So I want to jump back a few years to I guess around 2017. When did the trial end for
They had
the throne one with the
Throne one
lawyer?
was 2014 was the first one. The lawyer one was 2016. And then so in 2017, they would feel like they pretty much shut the door on that with any kind of appeal. So
Oh, so this fits right in then. So I have another piece to show you here and the audience watching today with us. Thanks for joining, by the way. So I found this article of well, who other than Joel Silver.
God help us.
Now, this dude apparently purchased some artwork back in 2014. It's kind of I don't know. But this is the artwork he purchased, and it's like millions of dollars. Okay.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Fertility. It's a fertility symbol.
it is. Yeah, it's supposed to represent like
Venus.
female genitalia. And
God
all
help
that.
us.
So there's that. So he went and bought this thing. It says here back in 2014 for $8 million. And the
Oh
thing,
my God.
it's just a piece of metal. That's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
in the die cast community, you call that spectra flame paint. Because that's what that is.
Right.
It's just
Looks like car paint. Yeah. Isn't that something?
but he apparently didn't get the piece of artwork, and then he went to sue the artist, be like, give me my art. Like it's been like 3-4 years and I haven't gotten anything. And so he ended up dropping this lawsuit with the artist in 2017 for some reason or another. And then these are other variations of the same BS that this artist is putting out.
Right. Right. Isn't that something? Because he's the guy that said that he doesn't make art, he acquires art.
Yeah.
And back rag that. And
And then there's this crap.
Reminds me of God, who was the Nazi in charge of the Air Force? God, the heavy set guy, like
I can't recall.
Grabbed up all the art possible. Goering. So that reminds me of Goering. It's just like the Nazi thing continuing, where he like just took the art from the Jewish people and other families and just grabbed it up. He's doing the same thing. He's just taking the art, says he doesn't make it, he acquires it. And Goering had quite a collection at the end of the war. Joel Silver had the same thing. Yeah, same personality. It's yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that was kind of interesting because I mean, why are these guys? I know they launder money and everything, but I saw there was a parallel there with time between the time he was purchasing this thing,
it makes total
the lawsuit
sense.
was going on.
Total sense, because he's going to try to shelter his stuff. He's also the one that severed his relationship, quote, severed the 25-year relationship. As soon as we went forward, even with the guys in place, they were trying to throw it with statute, like not serving the defendants, not serving him. And we said we were going to talk to the judge. That's when he severed his relationship with Warner Brothers. And then 6 months later, he's back in after they had the thing back and grappled and snowed, controlled. So it's like, there he is. And he also left Altered Carbon. When the hit and run attempt failed on me and Aiden in Canada, right at that moment, that's when he left Altered Carbon as a producer. So he just keeps running for the hills. So let's see what happens to him now that we're saying that we're going to go forward with litigation. And since there is no statute on someone with the condition I have, there's no statute. So according to California law. So we're in negotiations now and with going to see through a legal situation where we have due process. We didn't have due process before at all. They controlled everything. We were not allowed to have depositions with Joel Silver, nothing at all, no discovery from Joel Silver. So now when we do, our plan is to actually file, no statutes, we can explain that, and then order a deposition with Joel Silver, Altered Carbon, everything else, and have a 7-hour window that we're allowed, videoed, and release it to the public. That's our right. And so watch what happens when we announce that, which we're announcing right now. He will run for the hills completely because he does not want to be on camera being asked any of these questions about acquiring the art, right? And one of the things that just stood out to me too was we have what amounts to a small museum of Central West material. It's like, I mean, they have that first graphic, right? You showed where in the first graphic of the Matrix, you have Neo School's Central West, right? Well, we have the Letterman jacket, right? We have the Letterman jacket. We have the commencement. We have the diploma. I mean, you can make a small little museum here of all the things we have. From just that item, which was stacked with the other entries of mine, including my fiance's birthday, March 11th at the time, who was at the pitch session with Bonaventura. And then they said Joel Silver never met Bonaventura, basically. Well, we have a picture of them together in 93 when the stuff was submitted. So it's just unbelievable what we have. The story department was replaced, the head. Teresa Wayne replaced Diane Bellis. Diane Bellis disappeared off the map. Google Diane Bellis, see if you can find her anywhere. Just like Kate Chilton, the one that was at my deposition, disappeared. Now we know Linda Burrows is striking it, who was also at my deposition. They're running for the hills. These leaders of Warner Brothers are running for the hills since we're going forward with litigation.
I'm going to screen share again to show that they are in fact running for the hills.
Go ahead.
So the Tadler thing of Larry Wachowski's gone.
The
whole dating profile. This is the bookmark. It's gone now.
Glad you got the copy of it.
So as we uncover these things and document them, they disappear.
They're running.
It's been happening. We also had we found a Facebook profile for Linda Burrow. Yeah. So we found her, and then she privatized her Facebook account so nobody can search for her publicly. They have to have the direct link to the profile, and I'm glad that I bookmarked that because I wouldn't have found it otherwise.
Good for you.
I thought she straight up deleted it, and I'm a stickler for being like accurate with information. So like if I misspoke or if we got something wrong, then like we correct it. But like this case, look, she's straight up took herself out of the search results. Now we have the Wachowskis scrubbing their stuff. We have Elon up at like 2 a.m. thinking like, if there was a lawsuit, why does everybody hate me? That's the way he's going now. It's kind of nuts.
Brian Fitzpatrick is doing the same thing. Remember the FBI operative who's actually a lifelong lifelong FBI operative as congressman handling my sister? Well, what's interesting is he's whining and complaining that he's getting slandered and put down and everything. And please donate to him to help him donate to the congressman because he feels he's being slandered. It's like he's freaking out because we're saying that he also will be named. So we got Elon Musk on the run, Brian Fitzpatrick, the lifelong FBI congressman who has destabilized Ukraine, who was just up for being Speaker of the House, on the run, Linda Burrow on the run, who likes to brag about everything she did. In fact, she bragged right away when the case was thrown. It was her biggest win. What? You controlled the whole thing with your classmate. And then Kate Chilton, who was supposed to not resign, you found until 2029, who resigned immediately after the Sophia Stewart letter was revealed. That was this payment payoff letter for Sophia Stewart from the period of 2009 to 2014. So you've got this total thing exploding on them where they're all running. So we said, watch for high officials in like the agencies, watch for Joel Silver, the studios, Sony, Disney, to be all shaken up again. Now, Bob Iger did not respond after he was fired the day after he said, we have a tape of his top guy, associate, saying he's going to contact you. He's going to contact you tomorrow. And I said, we did an interview back then where we announced that he was going to contact. He was fired the next day, right? Gone. So now watch for what happens to Bob Iger, because he has not come through. He was supposed to contact now when he got back in. He hasn't. And so since we're announcing that Bob Iger is doing these things now, that he is involved in it so heavily, along with Joel Silver, Kate Chilton, and the FBI, watch for what happens to Bob Iger now. He might just have a double exit. So watch for that now, because we just said it just now. So the clock starts now. Watch how long Bob Iger stays in position. Would be my thought. Even if they claim that only 2 views, as they try to shadow ban everything, where I'm told, like I saw one time you had a channel thing up, it says something like 4,000 views. And then when I looked at your thing, when I pulled it up, it said like 2 views or something. I'm like, what? How? That's a big gap of what's there. It said new release 4,000 or something. And then it was like 2. Wait, what's going on here? But YouTube's been gracious lately, apparently. YouTube's been gracious where they're like saying, here's a new item, a new show. And they have not been swinging the axe. So kudos to YouTube for allowing this stuff to go through now. And again, it's that seesaw thing going on with the other side, where often it comes down to what they put in Game of Thrones. Again, you pick the winning side. That's what they do. They pick the winning side. So apparently the bank of the free city of Bravos has decided that we're a good bet now. So yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, it's just humorous. I mean, this is such a heavy topic, but at the same time, like the way that they're behaving and reacting to us it's just silly. I was expecting a bunch of death threats and all that. There's nothing. They're spooked.
Well, that's the interesting thing. What's interesting is too, Sophia Stewart, right? God, they like to throw her around. That's a lot of weight to throw around, by the way. I mean, poundage wise. But the thing is that you've got her, saying on her own shows, if you will, that she has never received a threat ever. Well, that would work if you're positioned by the cabal. And that the FBI will take down anyone who messes with her. You're akin to the FBI. Of course you are, because that's who was put, you're put in place to serve them and the studios. So it's just like, why not say you're guilty? And then she posts that, that letter, the Kate Chilton letter, which they all strike, and Kate Chilton resigns immediately after that announcement that it's on her site. It's guilty. They're just like children running from the cookie jar with piles of cookies. They're just caught coming and going. So it's just like, yeah. But I think the way we're approaching it now, by just being straight up, here's how we feel, not trying to mask any or contrive any presence, just here's how we feel about this, bare bones, is driving them crazy. Because it seems, it comes across, I think, to them that public may see genuine. We're being genuine. Yeah. No, Sophia Stewart, we're not reading off a script. We're actually just speaking. And people are hearing. And they're doing everything to push the buttons to shut it down. It's not working. And in Game of Thrones, again, it says if 10 people, Tyrion says, if 10 people hear and share, it is a story that's unstoppable. They say that in Game of Thrones. So it's like, and who wrote Game of Thrones? George R.R. Martin. And how did he do it? He was working for hire for HBO and Warner Brothers. So it's like, okay, well, there you go. That's why my birthmark is in that scene with the Knight of Flowers. The birthmark, my very birthmark is shown. And then I found, Stephen, that later they convict or imprison the Knight of Flowers based on the birthmark, my birthmark.
So it's part of the plot.
It's just incredible that is what's needed to convict the person. A birthmark is how you identify dead bodies. It's like, so you have my birthmark in there. What are you trying to do? Like with the Wachowskis putting all the stuff about Central West, in the original, they want to be caught. They want to be caught, or they think the public isn't as smart at all. They think that the public is never going to catch on. They had some kind of delusional fantasy.
That's what I think.
That the public's not comprised of brilliant people. Right. And what was I writing for? I wrote the screenplay. The screenplay was written for the idea that audiences were intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what's so interesting is when it comes down to it, a lot of people are. And they're getting on to it. They're saying, show us the facts, show us the evidence. So one of the latest claims they were doing was, he never shows the screenplay. He never shows the screenplay. He never shows what's going on. Well, we do. You can freeze frame any shot and catch there all these different pages where they say there'll be 8 pages. Yeah.
Give us your Reasoning behind not publishing the script as of current.
Well, we're going to do it exactly. The question is like, are we going to relay it or portray it as it is instead of changing it? Absolutely. Like we said, Marvel, Paul Anderson, Marvel, Cypherman, right?
Hmm.
That group kept sending emails and messages. I mean, tons of them, using Sophia Stewart's guy, pretending to play nice, saying, let's do a blend of Cypherman and Immortals. We said no. We had Steven Spielberg's guy, Spielberg, James Peter, out of New York, his best friend, one of his best friends, who says he works for the great Steven Spielberg, wanting to do a contract. Well, we'll do a blend of the Immortals also. Now, and that always the blend, pushing the blend. We had Sophia Stewart's #1, Nicholas Jackson, who was saying, let's do a blend, let's do a blend, and came up with all these weird configurations and storylines. I said, no, we're going to do it as is. Then you have Sophia Stewart calling saying, you can't do it. You can't make the Immortals as is. We'll put an injunction on you. We'll put an injunction on you. All right. And the response was, well, if you do that, proves there's matchups. That's the only way you can have injunction, if there's matchups. So, and we precede you. So it's like they're caught so bad, they don't know what to do. It's almost like the scene when Lord of the Rings again, which is, they claim their material, where Sam has the crumbs all over him, brushed off, the crumbs of the lattice, bread. The last of it, it's like it's all over him. The crumbs are all over. So it's like, they're caught coming and going. Anyway, so that's why they're on the run. They have no refute. There's no way they can change every one of the videos of the Matrix to take out that information. The school, the fiance's birthday, my name, my dad's name, TA 499, the column, Tom Park Althouse across the screen, the clock with the exact birthday on it, such as this right here. Wait a minute. Here we go. Wait, sorry, there. Can't erase those. You can't take every DVD, VHS, and erase these entries. So of course they're going to be on the run. And the real battleground comes down to documentary leads into court action. And the court action is what they keep screaming, don't they? They keep going, you can't do it. That's what Sophia Stewart called when she said, you put an injunction on your work if you try to file or try to make the movie. We'll put an injunction on your own, copyrighted work? No copyright in the Matrix. But as you saw, Tom Hanks is commissioned and has a certificate of authorship of the Immortals. So it's a done deal. They know as soon as we get into a fair court venue, they're finished. In fact, I can see a fair judge just pushing the paperwork back, going, okay, this is a done deal. There's no way around this. The preponderance of evidence is just off the charts. We're going to just proceed. The opposite of a summary judgment. Not one tribal issue. Let's see. Let's see. No problem. Anyway, that's not supposed to be a rant. That's supposed to be a.
Oh no, I wanted you to give a full explanation, because I know there's people wondering why. Well, like, oh, you have the script, so why haven't you shared it to the public yet? But I kind of knew the answer you were giving like ahead of time, because like I understand you want to either have the audience experience the Immortals as a film for the first time instead of a script, because that's the way you want it to be experienced.
That's what I've wanted. I'm going to change that up now, though. All I'm going to do is we've got it's not going to work this way. It's got to be laid out completely for people transparently. So with the new website going up, we're going to put pages on that, and you're going to see exactly the screenplay. It's too much at stake right now with the children and everything else at stake. What's going on with Hollywood, what's going on with the world, the cabal's plans, the agency's plans, what's going on in Ukraine. We need to go ahead and bring forward actual pages and show them. So
Yeah.
now that's what I'm saying is I'm not going to wait until the film's made. I won't put everything out, but I'm going to put out enough pages to show you exactly what matches up and for people to see, including all the ones that pertain to the Neuralink. Let's just put it all out there. So that's what we're doing is these composites, and we're laying it out. And so we won't be able to show the thing as a virgin material, but at least what it's intended to do can be done, which is help write the course of humanity. So rewrite it, reset it, set it on the right track, put the right timeline in order. So I'm going to go ahead and start exposing actual pages In fact, if anybody even said, pick a number from 1 to 28, Stephen. Pick a number from 1 to 28.
16.
Yeah, let's go to page 16. All right, so that's what I'm saying is just anybody, and if anybody wants to pick a number in the chat, we'll show one more. So here's a page right there from the Immortals, page 16. Nothing to hide. So if anybody in the chats or lives wants a page, call it out, and I'll do one more, and we'll just hold it up. The thing is that we have nothing to hide. We wanted the experience to be done that was robbed from the people, the public. But the stakes are so high right now. Let's just start revealing everything, and let's take away their weapons and turn them back on themselves. We'll take their arrows and sling stones and put them back in our arsenal and fire them back. It's
So
time
just
to go offensive.
a refresher question. How long of a period of time do you think it was between the Matrix being released and you realizing that your work was being used?
I fully realized in 2009. That's when I fully realized, which is because the honeypot wife and their attorneys were making sure I knew at that point, because that's a 10-year statute from 1999. See, they were concerned about Matrix 1 being claimed. Then they said I couldn't claim Matrix 1 because they're running out the time clock.
Mhm.
You know, like 2.5 years of running it out. And then they used the argument with Sophia Stewart saying that too. You can't claim 1, claim 2 and 3. You're the missing link. That whole strategy when she called me was to say that I should claim 2 and 3 and not 1. Now they mock me saying, you know, if you don't claim 1, then you claim 2 and 3. How can you claim 2 and 3 if you don't claim 1? I'm claiming 1, but we were blocked from entering that. So it was all construed and contrived to make sure Matrix 1 wasn't claimed. It's my legal right to claim Matrix 1. And that's when Sophia Stewart threw her hissy fit, because everything was found, as we said, the school and everything else, fiance's birthday, my name, my dad's name, all that was in those graphics. That's when she blew the gasket. That's when she lost it. Because it's obvious Matrix 1 is ours. They stuck everything in there. And yes, there's other works in there as they made it up on set. But the only stuff that's entered as far as high schools and all the personal entry is on the original author, not the guy from Necromancer, not Philip K. Dick's information, not from Dark City. The author's information is what's stacked in that first graphic they shot. High school, birthday, dad's name, my name, fiance's birthday, all that stuff. That's the original author. So yes, there's other contributing parties, and they try to say that were borrowed from, used on set as they made up as they went along to fill in the blanks as they made up as they went along. But that does not mean that is, you know, that's the work that's taken from. No, Dark City, what's like Cypherman, Alice in Wonderland, Philip K. Dick's novels. All these things were Ghost, the Train Man from Ghost. All that was entered in as they're making up as they went along to fill in the blanks as they're on set, grabbing what they can. So that's why that stuff's there. Of course, you're going to find a lot of stuff from the small minds of the Wachowskis throwing it in on set as they make it up. So, but point is, the original author, this guy, his stuff is what's entered in that first graphic, the most important graphic to them, the first scene they shot. That's where they're showing the theft, where Joel Silver is not creating art, he's acquiring art, as he says. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
It's
yeah, I'm thinking about just that, what, like 03 to 09. The last time it was released was 03 for Matrix like entertainment. So they had a few video games too in the middle, and I'd like to dive into that at some point. But,
right, because that was their main thrust. Their main goal was to do a comic book ripoff of the Immortals. So they took this, they got that. Remember the suits in that article back in what was it, like 1995, said, we know we have something cool, we don't know what it is, and the Wachowskis couldn't explain it. Joel Silver picks up and tries to explain it, can't. That's when he said there's robots in the program. No, it's robot-like agents. He got it all wrong too. So no one ever understood it at Warner Brothers. No one ever understood the work. And that's why the Wachowskis stopped doing interviews after they started doing interviews, because Joel Silver says in an article, they were embarrassed. The boys were embarrassed trying to explain the work because they didn't understand it. It's not theirs. Nor did they have a heart for it. It was simply Larry's ladder. That he talked about it needing a ladder to make his life good.
Yeah, and you could tell in their interviews they're very withdrawn
They're
from
lost.
whatever they're talking about.
Yeah. They brag, but they don't know how to explain the work. Yeah.
So I'm tweeting to Elon.
Good. Yeah. Tell him we're on the air.
Come say hi.
Yeah. Good idea.
To Tom and I.
I can't believe they give the tech to an engineer, that they give the tech to an engineer to steal, who they brought in, who was a failed engineer. This guy hasn't accomplished anything. They're providing him everything to put his face on it. It's amazing. And wow.
Yeah, we'll see if he does anything. Can you believe the reach for some of my posts here? The one view. But I don't understand how this is even happening.
Well, when you send a visual attachment, people view it. When you send a visual attachment, so watch what happens here.
Yeah, I got 300 views on the last clip I posted. But only one, and that was from Penny Shepherd, the like and retweet. And she contacted me, by the way.
On my site too, what they're doing is they're having it so it looks like one view. They'll allow one person in. The rest, people are contacting me and going like, we make a comment, doesn't go through. We put a like, it won't go through. We put a comment,
Yeah, are you seeing this? So besides this one with 3 likes.
Your screen went back to you again.
Oh.
That's right.
I'm sorry.
No problem.
Jumped the gun here. All right, so what, September 19th? No activity, just 320 views. Again, no activity.
And that's
296. No activity.
Oh my God. Like everybody's gonna let it go.
No activity.
Oh my God.
260. No activity. 131.
Oh my God.
Hey, Tom Althouse, check this out. People think you're a clone. 435 views.
You think you would respond, right? 2 retweets, but only 3. Yeah, that's wild.
No interaction.
Oh my God.
No interaction. This is going back and back and back.
You think Elon's nervous?
I think so, because why would you censor my tiny little channel?
Yep.
128 views, 2 likes. 2 likes.
They only let a couple people
through. Some of those are you. Come on, like what? It's not that this is an unpopular topic. It's a censored topic.
That's right. That's right.
And we are shadow banned, not only on YouTube, but on Twitter.
Oh,
TikTok loves to censor with community guideline strikes. And yeah, that's just the deal.
Unbelievable. And that's exactly what's going on. So for him to be rattled that late at night.
2 in the morning.
That's unusual. That is when you're totally rattled. My brother was like that, the one that's with Disney and Spielberg. He got rattled one night and it was like 2 a.m. He did a response post. That means you're bothered. You're up. You're bothered. And you're obviously responding to that item because that's the thing that's bothering you and keeping you up.
1:10.
That's a
1:10 a.m.
1:10 a.m.
Elon Musk is the enemy. Who else besides us has been talking about Elon being the bad guy?
That's right. That's right. I want to get a shot of that real quick, just a screen grab.
Oh yeah, it's definitely worth.
That's incredible. See, and look at what a self-serving thing he's doing here.
It's today too. This is from this morning.
There would be like Elon Musk is the enemy. It's like that's not the chip that's going in. That if he's responding to us,
the chip is everybody loves Elon.
That's right. That's the chip going in. Everybody loves Elon. This is what he's afraid
on already.
He's afraid of this.
He's so egotistical.
Very much so.
And he kind of just wanders off with his talking where he gets away with not having to say anything.
He never explains anything. He doesn't explain the work at all. I went back to, what was it, 3 years ago, he had a post I just saw for the first time where he was talking about Neuralink, what's going to do on an ABC program. ABC's owned by Disney. So that's his go-to interviewer. It basically is this ABC guy.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere this week, Neuralink has also come back up and trending.
Of course.
Just out of nowhere.
They're trying to get people to go for it. And we're telling people, the original author and team guys are saying, this is bad. The 2 authors are saying, this is not a good thing. We're the ones who came up with it. So it's like, we can tell you all the bad things about it. They don't want that out, boy. They do not want that out. They do not want that out. That screws up the mainstream PR program and the agency's PR program. What they're doing is giving you the final solution to get rid of the public, to destroy the public. And it's like, you're supposed to accept it. And they're laughing, saying, look, the public's buying this hook, line, and sinker. Wait, who are these two guys? Oh, yeah, it's the guy who created it. Oh, that's the guy who's an author too that we took from. Oh, those two guys are speaking up. Keep that down. Shut that down. It's like, yeah, it's not working. It's not working. People are too smart. There's too many smart people out there. And they demand evidence. So that's why also back to the original thing too, one of the original things is, yes, we'll be showing screenshots more of the stuff, more of the neural link entries, everything else, more of the lineups. I love that one where the guy has the headphones on, listening to loud music, watching the screen, scrolling blips, he navigates the ship. I mean, hello? And they use the exact same scene, all the layers in it. That would win the case right there. So if we get due process, you bet they're running. They're running because they know that with due process, the game is over.
Yeah, those are pretty iconic images. They're like staples in the franchise they created around your work.
Good point. Are they in any other films?
No.
No. There's all our stuff right there. And it's 2 sentences on our screenplay, 2 sentences that describe that total picture, but they did it detailed.
Hey, I got a question of my own. It's kind of out of left field here.
Please do.
So, what's up with Spoon Boy? What is up with the Spoon Boy that's bending the spoon?
Oh,
in the
that's
Wachowski
because what they
movie?
did was they threw in all these extra materials so it would sound smart, right? And again, one of the authors of this one book they said was required reading for the cast. Wachowskis hadn't read it, and what they said about it, they got it wrong. The author actually said, they're not quoting me properly. That is not what I intended. That's not what I was talking about. They even got that wrong. They're too lazy to even read the stuff. They make it required reading to sound like they're intelligent. So the
simulacra.
Yeah, so the bending the spoon was one of the add-ons. It was one of the things thrown in as they're making up as they go along.
So that's what I assumed, but I just wanted clarification from you
right.
on that.
No, there's no bending of the spoon in the Immortals. It wouldn't fit. It wouldn't fit the storyline. But when you're making up as you go along, off using all the iconic images off of it, sure, you can stick everything in they want. You can put anything in here.
Hey, Connie,
juggling golf balls. You can stick it in as you make it up as you go along. So that was one of those things to make it look clever. Especially what's funny, Stephen, is you look at their mind as they're doing this. They're making up as they go along. They have union wage people waiting, and they need to throw something clever in. They need to throw something interesting. So they're messed up with what they do. We threw the Ghost, Train Man from Ghost. We threw in Alice in Wonderland. Let's do the White Rabbit. Let's put a tattoo on her. Let's do you get the franticness. And then the bending of the spoon just seems to fit as something you would throw in because they're trying to come up with anything they can. And let's try to do something cool. So usually their small minds go to what's cool. And they threw in the bending of the spoon as being something cool. And because they don't understand what's going on either. It actually is a reflection of their confusion on what's going on, that they're lost as they try to create this on the fly.
Yeah. And really, if these guys are operating from no script or on the fly, and this is some additional scene that was put in,
yeah,
the cast and crew can really, like, you could take the shittiest scene and script and turn it into a good scene if you have the right players involved.
Absolutely. Well, what's akin to that scene, what's also in that scene, that series of scenes with the Oracle,
there's other stuff going on in the background. It's interesting. They made it interesting where there was really like no point for it being there.
Look at the sign above the door frame of the Oracle's apartment, right?
Yeah, the know thyself one.
Yeah, there again, stick it in. Stick anything in you can to make yourself look clever and philosophical. So that's what they're doing. They're stacking philosophical stuff, just like a attic, just filling it with stuff. And
you know that when you spell Neo backwards, it says one.
Right. Ooh, yeah, it's like that's what's going on. They're small minds wanting to seem brilliant, but they can't explain anything. What's interesting is they have the cookies, right? That's so funny because I don't know if I talked about this before. Whenever I did plays and Shakespeare and did tours, whenever somebody was feeling sad, the joke was that Tom would offer them a cookie. So I always offered them a cookie, like, here, have a cookie. It was a joke I would do if anything was like rough on tour, and that get people laughing. Here, have a cookie. So a Tom cookie. So the Oracle offers cookies. And I was on tour when they were making it, offering cookies. And they were keeping close tabs on me while I was on tour, because the tour SSE was connected to Hollywood. So I was being controlled by an international Shakespeare tour out of Stanton, when the film was being made. So I was being controlled by being put into a very prestigious position, offering cookies. So the Oracle offers cookies. I mean, when you know this stuff, it's just like, oh my God.
When you're able to piece together all this anecdotal evidence, like, there's no disputing it at a certain point. The kid with the spoon, inserted material, not from your work, but extra fluff that they put in.
Right. Well, you know what's
the baking cookies thing, directly a shout out to you from when you were doing your theater productions, right?
Right. Yes. When I was on tour at that time, when they're shooting it.
Wow.
And what's interesting too is, I will tell you this, and this is pretty funny. I actually have a bended spoon from the time. I was given a bended spoon by an artist from Maui who takes silverware and bends them into positions, and it was given to me as a gift. I was given a bent spoon that's in my collection from an artist from Maui, and they put the bent spoon in the Matrix along with the cookie offers from the Oracle both.
Wow.
I have it. I'll have to dig that up. I'll find you the bent spoon.
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
They stuck everything they could. And of course, I was being handled at the time. Of course, they're going to keep me close, right? Keep your enemies close. So when you're ripping someone off, Joel Silver, Elon Musk, you keep them close.
Yeah, and the Maui thing is,
yeah.
So Maui being connected to you, Tom, and I'm also explaining this to the audience. Maui is a big connection with Tom here.
Yeah.
So much so, I've gotten reached out to by people from Maui before the Maui fires, 2 months to the day. And Tom was able to get all of his stuff that he needed off of the island before it got scorched.
Just in time.
But the timing of all of this is just incredible.
Just in time. And yeah, it is incredible. You got TSA or whatever it is, the security at the airport, confiscating my tapes, taking my what was it, the floppies and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then it was the airline pilot that called in, God bless them, and the stewardess that helped me, and the guy at the front check-in who helped me get all this stuff back, that the pilot called in during the flight. And they bumped me up to first class because they said that, you're the author of the Matrix. We see the screenplay, we see the evidence. So it's like that's what the other side's so freaked out about. Not only have they failed at isolating completely, we're actually signing autographs. We're actually getting noticed. Now the mainstream media is not going to pick that up right now, but public is. People are getting it.
Yeah. So I'm going to mention this again because I think I only brought it up once. But back in February, I took a trip down to Florida. In the Fort Lauderdale, Miami area generally. Okay. So I went to a Walmart there, and there was this phone sales guy that was trying to get people to upgrade and switch services and stuff. And he wanted to stop me because I was walking by. I was a customer, and he seemed like he wanted to talk. And so I stopped and I talked with the dude, and I didn't buy anything from him, but he eventually asked me, like, what do I do? And I'm like, yeah, well, I shoot video. I'm a film director, and I do videography, like everything from post-production to editing. And lately I've been doing interviews, and I brought up your name. I'm like, do you know Tom Althouse, the creator of the Matrix? He's like, yeah. And I was stunned that he even, like, his eyes lit up. Name recognition of Tom Althouse in Florida while I'm on a trip back in February of this year. He calls his coworker over. He's like, hey, come over. Hey, this guy knows Tom Althouse, the guy who wrote The Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, whoa. So like it's like the Matrix is very well accepted in the mainstream culture. It's very cool. It's something that like everybody kind of like relates to in some way or another.
Right. Right. Which is intended to
But
be.
it's because of the story that you put forth, not what they did with that. Like the
Right.
core of it all, the
Right.
heart of the story lies within your work, and they just made it popular. It's like there's like some meme out there, somebody makes something originally, and then the person who stole it goes and like reshares it, and it's much more successful with the
Yes.
person who stole it.
Yes.
So that's the situation with Warner Brothers and Wachowskis and all of them. They made your idea popular by stealing it.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm actually like, I'm a bit offended by it,
Well, yeah.
more than a bit, because they've been doing this not only to you but to a lot of other creatives, and they are creatively bankrupt, and that's why they're in the situation they're in today.
Well said. Joel Silver acquires art. He doesn't make art, he acquires it. He did. They used failed people to do it. Bonaventura said it was revolutionary during the pitch session. We have Lenny Coco on tape before he died saying, yes, you were here. My wife remembers you. My granddaughter remembers you. Best friends of Bonaventura. Bonaventura takes it and gives it to failed writers. He has a penchant for saving careers of writers. Wachowski said in 1995 article, they failed as writers. They have to pack their bags and leave unless they were given the science project to direct. So you have failed writers rendering, like Christopher Nolan, rendering the work. And anybody sees the Interstellar scene with the library as a library, and he's talking to his daughter from the library bookshelves. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
You know, so
that's another thing that um if people can get over it and join us on this ride, like you got to get over Christopher Nolan and take him off the pedestal. He's no
goodness,
better than the Wachowskis.
he failed.
And it's hard. It was hard for me to even say that even a year ago, because I was caught up in the spell of Hollywood.
Isn't
Okay,
that
and,
something
and
too?
it's like we're undoing the curse in a way
Right.
by talking this out, by putting the names and faces out there of these people, which it's irrefutable the times and places these people were at, and then what they were doing and how they were involved with Tom here. It all
Mm-hmm.
checks out. And if you want to go back and like argue semantics with us and be like, oh, Tom said like Spider-Man DC or something, and Spider-Man's Marvel. Like
Yeah.
we're not going to get sidetracked by misspoken terms. Like I put text over some of the stuff that you're talking about if you've misspoken.
Good. Good.
You have mixed up DC and Marvel.
Right. I'll constantly mix up DC
But
and Marvel.
if you don't follow comics, it's all the same to everybody
Right.
that
Right.
don't follow it.
I actually
So
thought they were the same thing. I did. I thought they were the same thing. So,
yeah,
but
they're
we
separate. So like funny thing with the comic industry is before they became movie studios of their own, they were selling out the property rights everywhere. So that's why Sony has Spider-Man, but Disney Marvel can't use Spider-Man exclusively. They need to ask Sony for permission to use Spider-Man. Even though Disney owns Marvel, they don't own the film rights to Spider-Man. Like that's how segmented this all became. And like Fox, 20th Century Fox had X-Men, and so they just split everything off to all these different studios,
Right.
and they kind of shot themselves in the foot with it. And now Disney has no creative talent, so they're just pumping out all of this feminist propaganda and all the trans agenda
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. And Disney with Marvel, that's so important because that's the ones that stole Batman with Warner Brothers. And
DC. So see, yeah, so
DC,
Batman's DC.
Batman is
Yeah.
DC, Marvel is Disney.
Yes.
And they're the ones that, well, they're both involved in the ripoff. So
yeah,
it's like,
because Warner Brothers is with
both.
DC.
It is both.
And Disney and Warner
So it is both.
One example here for the audience is Oblivion. Oblivion was acquired by Disney. Then Disney hired a writer to make a graphic novel, and then they halted the graphic novel when they were in pre-production for Oblivion. And then Tom Cruise came on board, and put 100 million of his own money into the
I
production.
didn't know that.
Yeah, here, hold on. I got the
See, that's
link here.
2014 is when the case is thrown. That's when Joel Silver's given it by Disney. I didn't know Tom Cruise was that involved because he's always popping up things that pertain to my situation. So it's always Tom Cruise coming up. I didn't realize he was the real bad. Of course, Scientology.
Here we
Oh
go.
my God.
Tom Cruise commits to 100 million Universal Sci-Fi pick Oblivion.
Oh,
so maybe he didn't give. Okay,
he
so he
commits
didn't
to
give
it.
100 million.
God.
He jumped on board the project that is valued at 100 million. So I misspoke there. You see, it happens.
Oh my God,
So-
wait, stop. Disney and Universal. Hold on, I'm making a note. Disney and Universal is who Pat Robertson's Ned and Judy Nankovich, who were at Pat Robertson's organization, became in the story departments of Disney and Universal to directly get my work to Disney and Universal. And here's Universal, Disney and Universal.
Wow.
This is wild. After the case is thrown, they do Oblivion, which is completely the ripoff, even using the main characters, Jack and Juliet, and my brother and sister, who were bought by Disney and Warner Brothers.
Yeah, it says Disney and Universal had a bidding war.
This is incredible. Perfect. Oh my gosh, when we get all this out there, it's going to be so clear. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
We'll just do it publicly. As far as the script being laid out completely ahead of time before the film shot, well, I was thinking the documentary would be done first and then we release it. But since you're teaming with me on the documentary and doing all this stuff, we're teaming. What do you think? Do you think we should do the documentary first and then release the film and allow people to have an untainted experience? Since we can control the timeline when it's done now. So do you think we should just release everything ahead of time? I don't have a right answer in mind. So
I don't think we should release the whole thing ahead of time. Simply because this is still like I don't know how to describe it. Like a discovery problem. If this were the actual court case, we are doing discovery.
Right.
So we're getting all the little points all on video and audio. And then we can go in and like organize everything in terms of like topic. There's a bunch of stuff we can just combine on Keanu. There's a bunch of stuff on the Wachowskis, a bunch of stuff on Weinstein, and all the people that are involved with Miramax and Disney and Pat Robertson. And
you're right.
I know it's making you think about a lot of stuff, but it's...
Well, you know what? You just gave me a thought of the director's cut, basically. When we make this thing, Immortals, as is, which they don't want us to do, from Sophia Stewart to Tom Hanks, you name it. We make it as is. You could have a thing where it has inserted material through that film, also a cut where it shows all through the film, all the things that pertain, that are important, would really be eye-opening, where you see matchup after matchup after matchup after matchup, Matrix here, Oblivion here.
Yeah, and I think showing like a physical tree with text going, like a tree showing how everybody's connected
as it plays.
Yes.
I think
and when
really
the play,
fascinating.
when those people introduce themselves into the it's really hard to discuss this because we're talking about real life events, but we're talking about it in a way where I guess it's like meta in a way. So
yeah, I could see it where it's rolling and it goes, here's Forever Young, Mel Gibson, here's Interstellar again, here's Inception, here's, just how they used up like a phone book, all those entries on the Immortals, right? How many copyright entries did you see by Warner Brothers and HBO on the Immortals? How many copyright entries?
Hundreds.
And how many subtitles did they put under Immortals to launder it?
It was like 170 or something.
346 to 340.
Yeah. My numbers are all off because I don't have them in front of me.
Don't you worry about it. I'm not trying to grill you, but it actually went up to 30,000. So you're looking at, that's how many they just they thought by pounding out these extra attachments to it that they could get away with it, that it would make them safer. It's just unbelievable. I mean, I would ask anybody listening, would you be pissed knowing your work was stolen this vagrantly and that your loved ones lost their lives over this, and they keep throwing, their side will throw, he's angry.
Yeah, this isn't the normal Hollywood ripoff. This is a like you said, Tom, a thousand different entries on the Copyright Office. Imagine your work getting stolen 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening here with Tom.
It shows how much interest there was in that work when Bonaventura said it was revolutionary. Bonaventura was at that pitch session, and then Lenny Coco, best friends with Bonaventura, Lenny Coco and the Chimes, top Billboard hit guy. And then his relative is working for the law firm they provide to throw the case. Miriam Espinoza is related to Lenny Coco. It was all lined up. And then my daughter is married to that law firm's nephew and estranged from me, the little girl in the Matrix, which was put there because the daddy, the author, wanted to reunite with his kids. That's why the little girl at the end. And then that's why they say the little girl is just a subplot. That's all they say about her on their fan page, because they're trying to negate. And that's why the little girl does not have the relationship with her daddy, Neo, Thomas A, in the screenplay. They want to disconnect that, which ruins the story. You can't have a satisfying ending unless you put the relationship back between Neo and his daughter, who's represented by Sati.
Yeah, and that's a very big. It makes sense too, because Sati has no purpose in the story.
Not in the Matrix version, not in the ripped off version, not as
unless you're going to use her as a pawn. Like, we talked about this before, but Matrix 4, I said the Matrix 4 should have been Merovingian running an AI sex slave ring.
Oh, there's so many.
And Sati being like at the center of it.
I thought for sure, I haven't seen it, I'm not going to see it, but I thought for sure they would resurrect the little girl and try to make sense of her, because I kept saying in interviews how the little girl's integral, essential to a satisfying ending.
I would have made it where she never aged at all. But see, this is part of your story where she mentally doesn't age, right? But she turns old.
Right. She gets old, but mentally she's still the child at that point because she has Alzheimer's. So it's like, but what happens is, when I despise Christopher Nolan for ripping off that scene and ruining it in Interstellar, but back to it, that just bothers me a lot. What she should have done is had her actual name was Brittany in the original work. You can see the letters being reached around for Sati, Immortals for Matrix, Brittany for Sati. Yeah, Thomas A for Thomas A. God, they're not very creative, are they? Not creative at all. But they should have had Sati in the final one where she's integral and they find out that she is connected to Neo. They should have put it back. If you want to make sense of the ending, then put it back the way the original author had it and tie Sati back to Neo, where he discovers that she is from him.
I don't think they never planned to have a second and third film. And
no,
that's why she's not in the first one.
That's right.
He's a single childless male in his 20s or so, right?
Right. And
you can't add a daughter to them. Like, it changes the whole dynamic of the story.
In ours, he's 30 and he has a young 6-year-old in the beginning. 6-year-old, see?
And that's about
the
same.
Sense, doesn't it?
That's about 6 years old Sati, isn't it? She's the same age.
That's right.
Oh.
And it's supposed to be a crowded train station scene where all these people are trying to get the program. All these haggard people are pushing their kids forward, as they did in Legend later.
But budget cuts, you can just put somebody in a like a porcelain tiled room that makes it look like a bathroom and call it train station, right?
They were cutting on the budget. They were cutting down on the budget. Here it is right here. Oh, this is the second one. That's the Immortal Transport Terminal, right? Dusk. Okay, so that's that one. Here we go. Gosh, they used everything in this. Everything's in here. But the train station scene, I'm just trying to find it real quick. Where it is in here. I'm having trouble locating it right away.
So I've shown some clips.
Anyway, you got it. Yeah.
Yeah, like we showed I Am Legend with the crowded train scene.
Right.
And the woman screaming out for their children, like to give the children to them and everything.
Right. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if they come back with a Matrix 5, and they'll restore it the way the author originally has it, original author here. What they'll do is they'll put the little girl somehow tied to Neo. What I think they'll try to do in ruining it further is make Neo somehow the little girl, that somehow Neo is actually an alternate of the little girl.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say about.
And that's, they can push the transgender thing. See, that actually Neo is the little girl in the future, where, whoa, he turned younger and he's the little girl. And he's the little girl. So he's a transgender in the future, younger. Mind blowing. It's going to be garbage.
They have no creativity, because even the low-hanging fruit of Neo reincarnating as a woman, they couldn't even do that.
No, but
Just
that's what they were doing.
no original thought. Like, that's this kind of cringe stuff where I was like, please, Wachowskis, don't do it. Don't
Well,
do it. And they didn't do it.
They watch
because they
everything
don't
we
have
say.
any original thought of their own.
No, but they hungrily, they watch everything we say. One of the reasons you have one view shown, only one view, is because their teams are watching too. They're all watching. And what they do is they decide, they respond to what we say. They respond to what we say, like when Bob Iger was fired the day after the one interview. When I announced that I was going to talk to him, and it was on tape. Anyway, and subsequently, the same time they did that low echelon sting of the pedophiles in the parks. Same day, the next day. But watch how they will want to do this. They'll want to hungrily do this, where the little girl will be Neo in the future as a younger little girl, and the transgender idea where Neo discovers that he's actually this little girl now. They're going to want to do it. They're going to want to do it because the author said it. But it's not a good idea. We can make it a good idea. We can take anything and make it good. I mean, I could do that. Like the Disney guys asking me, how long would it take you to write The Matrix? First of all, the Disney guys are asking me, how long would it take me to write The Matrix? And I said, a month. The Matrix 2, they said, actually. Matrix 2, they called it. There's Matrix 4 out, but they're asking how I can do Matrix 2, which means they're not satisfied with the 2, 3, or 4. But the thing is, like, they're asking that. Disney's asking that. And yes, we could clean that up. You and I, we could clean that up. We're writers, we could clean that up. We could turn that into jointly something that works. Yeah, we can make Neo as the little girl in the future. Wow, it's mind-blowing.
If I was them, if I had like just money to throw at this thing, I would just make Matrix 5 called Matrix Reloaded. The way that you're talking about this, like they're calling it Matrix 2.
Yeah.
Why not make a remake and call it the same as the second one, which was also
a great idea.
Reboot remake?
That's a great idea. I love it.
The creativity from minds like us going into this Hollywood system, it's like they are leeches, they're parasites.
They're so busy
to see our ideas go to fruition through them, but they're not going to do that. They have their own agenda at hand, and it's a tale as old as time. We don't even need to address it either. I mean, these people are out to corrupt society, and they've been I think I found the year that they got unlocked to do that. It was like 64, I think.
Okay.
1964, they got like all of these restrictions let go, and then they started like showing full frontal nudity and shit in these R flicks. So it wasn't like that all the time, but it does give me a good cutoff point of having a digital video library going up to 64, and then a separate library of this is after the Jews in Hollywood decided that they want to remove all censorship and just have depravity left and right. And that's why these okay, so VHS, I'm really upset about VHS owning these tape wars, because Betamax is the superior format and VHS took over because of the porn industry brought to you by the Jews. So it's just, like I said, it's a tale as old as time. We don't have to talk about it on here, but I'm addressing it just because there's some people that say that we're not, like, we don't have the balls to talk about this stuff. Well, here we are. We're on YouTube talking about it. What are you going to do? We're not, well, all we're doing is pointing out what's there. And we're questioning why things are happening the way they are.
You know what's interesting, Stephen, too, is that the Zionists in Hollywood are the ones that are actually persecuting the Jewish people. It's like they are. Look at me. I have part Jewish blood, and they took my work, right, to the Zionists. The Zionists are also responsible for the persecutions in World War II
Yeah.
that worked with the Nazi government. They did. And a lot of Hitler's group were percentages of Jewish.
Yeah.
And it's like they were getting rid of the European Jews. And it was like they still have this hierarchy in that demographic. And it's like the Zionists want to be superior to the rest of the Jewish population.
Yeah. Hey, so
Like,
we got, here's another question. Was the city of Zion in the Immortals script, or was that something with the Wachowskis and Warner Brothers added?
Here's the interesting answer. Again, it is attached. When I pitched it, I talked about, he said, where did this come from? Like Bonaventure was saying that during the pitch session. And I believe there's a tape of that pitch session, actually, because Otika was taping it, the pitch session. Wouldn't that be something to surface? But the thing is, yeah, that would be something, because in that pitch session, where the granddaughter and Lenny Coco's wife was there, and Kirsten was there, and Otika was there, my housemates who were, then grabbed up by Spielberg and Disney.
What's her name again?
Otika Ball.
Otika Ball.
Bernard.
Okay.
Otika Bernard is
I
the one.
I want to formally ask this. Otika Ball, if you're watching this and you still have the tape that you recorded of Tom pitching the Immortals to Bonaventura, please come forward with the tape. Please, if you have it on analog and you don't have it digital yet, please contact us and we'll get it digitized and we'll put it into the record. Because
Right.
I mean, that the fact that there is a possibility of that being out there, I have to ask. So if,
well, let me address Otika too. Let me address her right now, because she'll see this. I would ask Otika to honor, please, what you had said when you said that at least you would help with the legal side of it if it came to it. And I'm asking you to do that. You were sent a packet that had everything in it. You could have saved the whole Matrix case when it was being thrown and handled, and you chose not to. I'm asking you and your new husband, or husband from long ago, to actually do what Stephen's saying and provide the evidence.
Yeah, at least you don't have to contact either one of us.
No, in fact, I prefer she didn't.
She can contact people that talk to us. It doesn't have to be us, but if you want to get that item to us, we're more than open and ready to accept that.
In fact, my preference is that I never see her again. I don't want to ever see her again, but if she could provide the materials, that would be great. I have no interest in seeing her
it's not an invitation to rekindle.
I don't want to ever,
friendship
I don't
or relationship
again. I don't ever want to have anything to do with her again, but I would like to have her fulfill her promise of giving the evidence over. She failed us at the most crucial time when she knew.
I'm sure she still thinks about it every now and then.
I don't know how you could shake it after all that we invested together for 5 years to address Robertson and everything else and all the facts she knew. I don't know how you could have done what she did, but at least I can ask you, Otika, to provide what you promised, and that's it. Then go your own way. Good riddance. But thank you.
I have another question, and take as long as you want to answer it. But the Matrix was released in '99 by Warner Brothers,
right?
And the last one, Revolutions, was 03, so there's about 4 years there. And you said 09 or 06?
09 is
when you found out.
Yeah, okay. That's when they made sure I knew. That's when the honeypot wife came forward and showed me, look, here's the little girl graphic, a little girl pointing at the sun. Here's a little girl at the train station. They wanted me to go, oh, that's my work. So they made sure I knew in 2009, at the end of 2009. So run the latches, run the statute.
And how was that for you first finding out about it?
I was blown away. In fact, there was entries. We made a website immediately and put it all up there. And that's where Rankin, the attorney, came in, who was classmates with Burroughs on the run now, or trying to hide out. Rankin was saying, we have to strike that site, they'll be using that. Well, they had copies of it because he was classmates with them. And so they had copies of every entry. You see my reaction on that entry on that website. You see how blown away I am by the entries on the website. And I do have copies of those entries. So you just give me an idea. I'd like to put those up on the new website. I'd like to put up some of those original entries they were afraid of that they had Rankin and Burroughs striking. So
yeah, and I think that would be a good idea too, to just have it where you can scroll through everything.
I think it's a great idea. Resurrect it, because that was the initial response where you see I'm just blown away, just like
Yeah, and
yeah.
this has been a constant theme with you, Tom, with going to these. You're going on these shows and interviewing with these people, but not all of these interviews stay up. And it's
No,
not anything for like it's from both sides. It's both the people that interview you pull it, and the video host, like the platforms end up pulling it at some point.
right.
So just the fact that we've been able to stay online without anything pulled from just YouTube alone is impressive.
Mammoth. It's mammoth. And you got to understand too, there's these groups that are going around approaching every single host. They approach all these hosts and tell them, don't use him, he's evil. Any girl that wants to date me, they get approached within 2 weeks. You've got a group they call themselves Immortal Remnant. They actually take Immortal Remnant. Yeah. And because I said remnant in the thing, this guy named Royce Babcock got together with this group that are connected to the FBI. And they're like a Stewart group. And they just came in. He actually claims to be Jesus Christ.
Wow.
It's incredible. And so they were saying that they're going to help me do this stuff, bring it all forward, line up all these groups. And what they did was they didn't do any product at all. All they did was try to shoot down. And so all these groups have all these contacts from this Royce Babcock, who's this goofball out of Canada, who is there working for the FBI, failed at everything he did. And in fact, there's this one thing with tinfoil on his head he has a picture of. And his whole job, just like Sophia Stewart's and Kate Chilton's, was centered around destroy the original author. And so it was unbelievable. Then he claimed this, like the honeypot wife did. He actually claimed this, that he claims, it's not true, that he channeled the work, the Immortals, through me, that it's his work. See how Warner Bros. And Disney works? So it's like he claims, Royce Babcock claims he's nobody, absolute nobody. He calls them the three wise men, his guys. One's an ex-con out of jail. And what you have is this guy claiming that he channeled the work through me, so it's his work. The honeypot wife said the same thing. She said that I had a phrase, a quote, that's dare to live by letting go. She claimed that it was channeled through me for her, so therefore it's her property. What? See the argument? Yeah. So this whole mysticism thing enters in, where Royce Babcock claims that he channeled the Immortals, all of it through me, and that he's Jesus Christ. Unbelievable. And he's the guy contacting all these hosts, along with Sophia Stewart, having her minions contact all these people. So that's why I disappear from sites.
Yeah, Sophia's not doing anything right now.
Just promoting her book, wearing large glasses and showing her cleavage. Right.
Oh,
that's it.
That last show, I still apologize to the audience for that one.
Well, the compilation was given to me of her entries, and it's just like, she can't even talk right, let alone write. She's never written a screenplay. And
whenever she's on camera, she's like, Matrix.
I know. And it's like, Matrix 4 comes out. Why didn't she stop it? You know, if she's the owner, if she's proven the owner and won some case, why is she allowed to go on? You know,
yeah, that's kind of the damning question with her.
Yeah, she's really just a nobody that was brought in.
She showed up like 10 years after the last movie came out. She showed up right when you were going to trial, or like roughly. And she's still at it.
Still going. We talked about the blue pill being the good pill, and then suddenly on her site, remember it says one view for something. On her site, it says the red pill is based on the blood of the children. The blue pill is the red pill is the good pill. The red pill is based on blood of children. But it's like, what? So she's trying to counter us saying that the blue pill is good. Now Hollywood didn't know what to do with that, so now they started that movement where they said it's the green pill, it's the purple pill, it's the blue and red pill are both bad. No, the only one that would know whether the red pill is good or bad is the original author. That's the only one that will know what was intended, would be the original author's intentions, the one that intended it. So the blue pill is good based on the author's eye, what you see the author, you know, is relaying through the author's eye. And the red pill is based on blood of children. It's bad. The blue pill is given by, the Morpheus character after Neo is cut from the program. Smith gives the red pill to get him in the program. He's cut from the program by the architect's desire and plan. And then Morpheus offers him the blue pill in Underground. Now, you asked about Zion.
Mhm.
Zion is, when I pitched to Bonaventura, he asked about where it all came from. And I said that I had this experience where I said to God that, I was praying to God. I said, I want to, if you're there, I want to please you do it right. And this whole idea came that I was weeping that night, saying, I want to be in your presence. I want to do this right. And I got a scripture in the Bible where it was actually the pages were turning. I was like, whoa, where this parallel universe thing, where the whole thing where they can affect gravity and light. That's what I believe. I put my finger on the Bible and opened it and said, the sons of Israel ask weeping the way to Zion, and I'll show them a way and make a covenant with them forever. That's badly paraphrased, but that's where Zion comes in. So I told him about Zion during the pitch session, that's where this whole thing started from. This desire to write this thing, Whisper Through Art. And that Wintergreen was a city in DC where all the Congress and everything, all the different senators and office would go, a city underground. It's already there. And so I said, that's a city underground. So they changed it to Zion when it's actually Wintergreen. And so I have the city underground. They take the name that I pitched it with, talked about to Bonaventura and applied it to it. So that's why you have Zion. Everything's tied together. They didn't leave a scrap or a morsel untouched. So they used every morsel. In fact, they said they're trying to see if they used up the rest of the story, Joel Silver said on set. So that's why Animatrix, again, real quick, Animatrix is shot to use up the rest of the story. Anything they didn't use, making it up as they go along in that visual storyboard off the original work, 190 matchups, they throw into Animatrix as shorts to get credit for using up the rest of the story.
Yeah, I remember. So I looked through some of your other interviews, and you brought up one that I don't think you brought up here with me before, but an Animatrix matchup of the, I guess the woman in that like
Oh
mind
yeah.
state where she's like floating in there,
Yes.
and this
Yes.
other entity tries to reach out and touch her, and she gets spooked and like runs away. And you said that was actually something in the Immortal script as well.
It's what I pitched in when I was pitching Immortals. They said, do anything else? I said, I have the Dream movie.
Okay, yes, yes. So yeah,
Right.
that's what
And
that's what I mean. Yeah.
yeah, and the Dream movie, what's so wild is they use that for also, that's why Neo flies in Matrix. They mixed it together because in the Dream movie, the experiments are done on the inmates who are brought in for the experiment, and they experiment on dreams. Sounds like Neuralink, doesn't it? Precursor. And what happens is the one character is able to fly in his dream to escape danger. And so he is then assigned to the rest of the candidates to do a group dream where he's sort of the mind guy in charge of them, all linked, right? And what happens is in the dream, he tries to get them around a campfire, tries to get them to flee danger. They can't fly. They can't fly in the dream. They die one by one. And so that's why when he is in that dream state, he sees one of his friends that had been mangled earlier. What happens in your dream happens to your body. And that guy comes up and he's talking normal voice, like, what's wrong, Jim? What's wrong? And he's totally mangled and grotesque. And in that dream state, our main character, Jim, feels that he can touch him maybe and restore him. And so what he does is he says, don't, and the character goes, what are you doing, Jim? What are you doing? He touches him and he freaks out. The guy freaks out, like jump scare. And because he's not going to be able to heal him in the dream. So what they did in Animatrix is, since that was pitched to Bonaventura, shows a direct link to the Wachowskis and Jill Silver, you have the character in Animatrix, the robot. Again, robots instead of robot-like people. Yeah, they had to go that far. So they put the girl who died into the dream with the robot. The robot goes to touch her, thinking he can bring her back to life, and she freaks out. Same thing. And that's the last thing they put basically in Animatrix. They wanted to use up that final one. See? Because they couldn't put it in the Immortals. So what they did was, I'm sorry, the Matrix version. Version. So that's why that's there. And when you look at the imagery, it's like, that's exactly the Dream movie, right? And then you got Inception.
Inception is all dreams, yeah.
Right, where you have the character's wife falls off the window ledge, uncertain whether she is in the dream or not in the dream. And in the Dream movie, the ending is, that I pitched to Bonaventura, was that the main character, after he failed in this experiment with, saving all the guys that were intermixed, the survivors of the candidates were with him in the final segment, a shared dream experiment where he couldn't save them. He wakes up from that disaster, emotionally, affected. He is foggy, right? He sees a scalpel and a man in a lab coat, technician in a lab coat. He picks up the scalpel and holds it. Looks like he has an advantage now. He's got the scalpel against this guy. He backs away to a window ledge, feels the window ledge behind him, and tries to fly to escape danger in the fogginess of forgetting what's reality and what's not. So he goes back to his instinctual response that works and falls to his death. Not a happy ending. That's why they stuck that in Inception. See, they use that up also.
She jumps out. Yeah, the wife jumps out the window in that movie, and it's a main plot point as well.
Plot lifted from the Dream movie. So what Wachowski's did was a mixed Dream movie with Immortals, and you have Neo flying to escape danger. See it? Then they think in their small mind, Superman. So they make it Superman powers, which ruins the story. There's nothing at stake. Of course he's going to win. In the Immortals, there is no Dream movie mixed in. You don't have Neo flying. He's like a fish out of water using regular abilities to try to succeed. And it's very, very difficult. If he didn't have the architect's help, he wouldn't succeed because the architect has plans for him to infiltrate Zion underground. So it makes sense when you put it back. It's ruined when you mix the muddiness of what the Wachowskis did. They did a great disservice to humanity and to audiences in the ripoff. They were the worst candidates on the planet to re-render the work. They make no sense of it. They can't explain it in interviews. They still can't explain it. They couldn't explain it to Warner Brothers. And Joel Silver got it wrong too in his small mind.
Something that this reminds me of is when Matrix Reloaded was released in 2003, there were no spoilers of the architect scene prior to the film being released. So that makes me wonder if that was something that they didn't include in their shooting script, and they shot that after the fact because there's only 2 actors in it.
Right. Yeah.
And they were able to insert it so that they could use it up. Like that's the only this is a very distinct memory of mine that the architect scene was not spoiled ahead of time.
Well, what's very important, and you just hit upon it, is so essential, because what happened was, remember they said that everybody on sets had to blow up the Matrix to end it. They didn't know how to end it. How would you not know how to end it if you had a shooting script? There was no shooting scripts. Remember Warner Bros. Attorneys on tape say there's no shooting scripts? There was no shooting scripts. There's no drafts. So what you have is exactly what you said. And they put that scene in at the end because they didn't know how to end it. It didn't make any sense. It's not supposed to be the architect talking to the Oracle hugging a little girl. It's supposed to be Neo hugging his restored daughter, and she points to the sun, that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and when you like the architect in Reloaded, one scene at the end, okay, that's passable for whatever, but then you get into Revolutions, you don't see that character again until that final scene, which again seems shoehorned in there.
It was. What's interesting is they actually call it something like the Deus Machina or whatever it is.
Deus Ex Machina.
Yes, they call it that because that's what Greek tragedies or whatever. That's how they would end a play if they had no way to end it. They just have God descend. And so they didn't know how to end it. So they did the Greek ending of that very device where the God descends. It's
literally, yeah. The machine ship coming down in front of Neo. What are you doing here?
They know how to end it. So they actually do that Greek device of what you do when you don't know how to end it. How the God descends. It's unbelievable. And call it that. The only way they can be clever is in the realm of their failure, of how they are working with what they're failing at. And so they didn't know how to end it. So they use the very device of how you end what you don't know how to end.
All right. Since we are this deep into this section of, I guess, the melding of your story and their story, how was the Agent Smith character handled at the end of Immortals? So, like, from what the public knows from Warner Brothers release of this is Agent Smith became corrupted, and like he's a program in their movie, but he's a real person in yours.
Right.
So, what was like that final interaction between the main characters supposed to be like?
The interaction actually between, well, the ending they have when they,
Well, yeah, the main character finds out more about the Smith character after their last interaction, from what you said.
let me tell you how it happens.
But yeah, what was their last interaction
let me
before the revelation?
let me address it. It's a great question. So let's do it their way first of all. Smith faces off with Neo as identical figures at the end. We have identical figures at the end. Ours is the architect's son, looking like Christ, facing off the real Christ, identical figures at the end. Neo is watching this happen. His little girl is restored to him and points to the son. That's what's supposed to happen in the original. And they carried over and kept it, they copied it and did the exact same ending, yet they reversed the characters' positions. So Smith isn't in the ending of the Immortals. The architect's son is, who was purging Smith. Now, the agents are purged. So what you have is, because they're not needed anymore for the equation to be balanced. Right now, in the ripped off version, there's no balance to the equation. There's a tentative piece. And it doesn't make any sense. It's tentative. It's nothing satisfying, nothing lasting, nothing solved. Really, it's a timeout, basically. And what you have in the original is Neo has a face-off with Smith at the 9/11 event, basically, this hospital explosion thing. And they are both taken down. He cuts out, get this, cuts out Smith's enhancer or Neuralink with a shard of glass, which they use in Elysium.
I want to pause right here briefly. So the hospital blowing up, that was used in The Dark Knight, and we've talked about this, but I just want to address that again for the audience. Hospital blowing up scene comes from the Immortals, and Nolan is part of this whole cabal, and he was instructed to insert a hospital scene of a building blowing up because of Tom's work here.
Big thing out of it. They did a big thing out of it, all kinds of angles, multiple explosions, him walking.
It was a big deal. They blew up a real building for that whole scene. They made a big deal out of it.
Paid a fortune on that one, just like the graphics. And so what you have is, you have this where he cuts the enhancer, the Neuralink out of, which is a bad thing about the Neuralink, that thing that can be taken with all your memories, out of Smith, right? And he cuts it out, which they used in Elysium, shard of glass even. And they keep repeating that shard of glass thing all the time now, even Black Sails, everywhere else, it's overdone. Just like the eyes popping open all the time. You can zoom in and pop open. They do that all the time now too. Oh, it's nausea. There are no brains out there in Hollywood. Anyway, so what you have is he cuts a shard of glass, cuts an enhancer out. They're both taken down to underground with the tunneler, taken down underground. And Neo learns he has to use Smith's memories to find the Cortex building and the dome at the end, the dome, right? And have Trinity's help to find it. That's in the original work. And there's a scene where he goes and confronts Smith, who does not have his Neuralink anymore, basically a babbling idiot at this point. He's an immortal program. He's relying on that. He doesn't have his memories anymore. That's why the blend scene where Smith feels he's blended with Neo and corrupted is because, yeah, they're blended. He's feeling what he feels. And that's why Sense8 was done after the thing was thrown. All these parallels, all these connections. Anyway, one of the last scenes with Smith is, remember when the Squiddies all invade Zion and the big battle goes on with the swarm?
Mm-hmm.
That's going on. Smith gets some coherency back and is in the tunnels laughing and screaming at Neo while the wall of flames comes through the tunnel, where they did that one key device and blows the tunnels. You have a scene missing where Smith is in the halls screaming at Neo, and the wall of flames comes and consumes Smith.
Oh, wow.
The original demise of Smith in original work, right? But they needed Smith at the end to replace the architect's son facing off the Christ figure.
So is that why they've made that weird thing of having a character called Bane and then Agent Smith downloading himself onto a human?
See Smith in flames and the vision looking through his eyes,
Yeah,
which have Immortals. In Immortals, you have the character looking through the agent's eyes and seeing Smith. It's in the Immortals.
Yeah, and the flames are supposed to like represent spirit or something like that.
It actually burns in the Immortals. And you got the key turned, one key device to blow the tunnels in the Immortals. So that scene I thought was pretty cool, where you got the key turned, blowing it up, one device, and that's when the flames come down and consume Smith and him. But what happened before that scene was Neo has his Neuralink taken out, so he can be adapted to Smith's, so he can use the memories, which is Sense8. They rip off later, as soon as the case is thrown, like Oblivion. And what happens to Neo is he doesn't have his enhancer anymore, and he's trying to function without that memory device anymore. He goes down to Smith's cell, and there's a scene where he goes, which is used now. Tell me if they don't use this all the time now. He goes to him and goes, he says, who really matters to Smith? And he goes, Julia matters, Brittany matters. He's punching him every time he says who matters. That is now done. That is now done in shows where it goes like, they matter, and they matter. And that was what he did to Smith before he's hauled off. And Smith is just this drooling idiot at that point after the enhancer's gone. So this confrontation happens. It's a great question, Stephen. What happens in the original work with Smith? Now, this Wachowskis really ruined that, because they had to figure out how to end it, right? How to end it when they're using up the rest of the story and took everything out of context. They should have used the little girl as it was. But they did. The little girl doesn't work if it's no longer the relationship between Neo and the little girl. And it doesn't work to substitute the Oracle for Neo at the end with the little girl. There's no real relationship there. We don't get a, oh my God, they're together feeling. The Oracle was a dick to the little girl in the Matrix. In the original work, Neo is the father of the little girl.
This is so silly, but when the Oracle sees Sati as the new agent Smith and the audience doesn't know it yet, the moment she gets the revelation and the audience is aware that the Oracle knows that the Smith standing in front of her is the old Sati, but now possessed by Smith, all her reaction is to him doing that is just like, yeah, bastard.
I know.
What? What? You just killed your kid. Yeah, bastard. Did I ever tell you that, Smith?
That's it. That's it. Honestly, that's it. It's like there's no emotional investment in the work by the Wachowskis. They mocked that. There could
have been a tear going down the Oracle's face, like, you're a bastard. Like, you know how different that is? It's the same words, but the delivery makes all the difference.
Go to Game of Thrones again, where they put all their stuff in there. All the stuff is in there. Like we said, birthmark and everything else, and the names. King Tommen is the one that's, the redheaded queen that tears papers up. My God, that's my sister. Worst person on the planet. What you have in there, too, is a scene where Ara, whatever her name is, goes and she's supposed to, by the faceless god, she's supposed to get rid of this actress who's really good. And the actress is on stage reenacting the death of Joffrey, right? Her son, the queen's son. And Ara makes a point, you could do this better, rewrite this work, do the scene, they'd show it better, where she is not just saying, oh, my son, my dear son. She says, the queen would be angry. She'd want to hurt the one that hurt her son. She wanted, same point you're raising right here with the Oracle. They did it badly. And if they would do what Ara said in Game of Thrones, you go back, be like, oh, yeah. It's the same thing where you do the scene over and do it right. The thing is, like you said about us being writers and Disney asking how long it would take to write Matrix 2. Interesting, they said 2 again. The thing is, yes, we could fix it. Yes, we can make it more powerful. We could clean up things like you're pointing out right now. But it's from delusional, demented, talentless minds having messed with the original work. Let's just do the original work. Let's just do the original work the way it's all tied tight, where it shouldn't have been messed with, where if you lift something out of context, it's not going to tie together. No wonder on their fan page they said the little girl's just a subplot and couldn't answer. The 6 generations of Zion was ridiculous. The architect knows where Zion is. There's a purpose for Zion to balance the equation. So his mind is stimulated with the pure power of worship, with untainted humanity being set aside in Zion. He has a plan for it. So anyway, it all makes sense when you put it back in the original. The original will answer all questions. So what does Sophia Stewart and Warner Brothers and Disney say? No one's going to watch it. No one's going to watch the Immortals if it's made. You're the one, you have the copyright all over Immortals. How many entries did we say for the Immortals? Under Tom Hanks being certificate of authorship? Along with all these
Yeah,
others?
that's another one.
So the thing is, do you think people are going to come and see it? I think people are going to want to see if there's egg on our face, or if we're telling the truth, or if it's real, or how it ties together, or answer their questions. I think they're going to want to come and see it. Love it or hate it. So that's their last throw.
I want to share this scene that we've been talking about with Oracle and Smith.
Oh, it's so bad. I can't
Let me
believe
know if you hear the audio, but I think you should hear it. But we'll just play this short clip here just to show you the reaction that this.
No, too. Now that we know, people are learning where it actually comes from. Now they can view it in this context.
Yeah. So just to preface here, this woman is being informed that her child / grandchild / next of kin was just murdered.
Right.
Okay, she's just realized, she's learning the information that her child is gone.
And probably tortured. Was tortured. Yeah.
Yeah, unspeakable things by the Merovingian, I say. But anyway, that's more wishful thinking on Creative's part here, our creative minds. So this is that scene of her being told the information that Sati is no longer there, and that Smith overwrote her, or essentially killed her.
I don't hear the audio, but I see the scene.
All right, well, here she's about to say that you're a bastard.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
that's it. That is it.
She might as well give a care about her. Yeah.
You're a bastard. He's like, yep, I know.
Isn't that
But
incredible?
he says a weird line here too. You would know, Mom. It's like, what the shit?
They're throwing anything in they can. Look at the yin yang on the earring, and the cigarette to be cool. Anything they can throw in to embellish, they're going to. They're going to throw in anything they can to make it look cooler, sexier.
And this, I mean, this alone was kind of weird because they had to recast the Oracle of all things.
Well, you know what? That Oracle doesn't look like Sophia Stewart.
No, the other one does, not this one.
No,
she has the mannerisms down, but she looks nothing like
nothing.
Gloria, whatever name. Great actress, but it got a question like, did that actress know about your script on set? Like, she's passed away now, but
and every single actor and actress in the production knows the 20-foot rule, and that what they saw on set. They all know that there was no working drafts. They all know what the attorney said on tape. They all know. Every one of them.
Yeah, someone, Connie in the chat, asked, what's up with all the smoking? I always wondered.
Attempts to be cool, attempts to make it look sexy, attempts to be, they're throwing anything like the yin yang earrings, anything where people go, what they're doing is Easter egg things too, where they're going to go, they think that people go, oh man, they're going to be so amazed when they find this. Because Wachowski even said, there's so many things we stuck in you'll never know about.
All right, here's another random thing. Sorry to just jump around here.
Please.
But just CGI. Just the CGI here, this one shot. It looks like it's out of a video game to me. But actually watching, like, these are great visuals to watch, but there's no purpose to it for the story. I mean, are we supposed to be seeing what it would be like if Neo was watching from like a corner of the room?
Well, what we're told too is we're told that when we go frame by frame, we hire people in the future, we get our studios going. When they go frame by frame,
they stick stuff in there.
Find our names in it. We're going to find more information, addresses, you name it. If they stuck all that stuff in the first graphic, including the high school birthday, dad's name, fiance's birthday, all that in the first graphic, you're going to find so much throughout all of this work. Where right here, we'll probably start to find spelled out names and things like that. So what's going to be interesting when people come forward again, people are coming forward, they'll be able to tell us more and more, those involved in the graphic sections, where to look. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing what's going to show up later. Because right here, it looks like letters right across. I see Park, P-A-R-K at the bottom. Hold on. Stop right there. Oh my God. Okay, go to the center bottom, right there. P over A, go next. R, go next. K.
Oh, yeah, I see that too.
Right away. Taking a random script page out. As soon as you freeze frame a shot, it's there. It's there. I see it clearly.
Yeah, that's kind of wild.
P-A-R-K. Park. My middle name in the middle.
And then
God.
it just goes away after that too. I've screenshotted it.
Yeah, screenshot that. That is phenomenal. Right there. You just grabbed a random shot and my middle name's in the middle. Right there. There it is.
Let's see if I can do this at
Unbelievable.
extreme slow.
See what I'm saying? That's exactly what we were told. That illustrates the point. So we're going to see these things all through. They stuck it through because they thought nobody
And
would.
so also, yeah, so what's up with this goo shit? Like this, so this looks like they were trying to imitate the mirror. Like this mirror slime.
Well,
Whatever
that
this is.
Star Trek, they're doing the thing from Star Trek where the early on Star Treks, they had the black goo, the Reichert one, where the black goo would consume the crew members and creep over their body and flow over their body. That's the black goo from Star Trek. So this is flipped out, though. This is absolutely flipped out.
And then they made, so I give Hugo Weaving a lot of credit here for his acting. And the whoever did the cinematography for this shot right here,
Right.
because they're trying to portray just this very dark evil presence, and that's what Smith is in this version of the story.
Yeah, we're blow it. Right.
He has no soul. He's an AI. He doesn't. This is also me projecting my ideas onto this thing. Smith is not that big of a character or that deep of a character. We are putting that meaning to it because the Wachowskis didn't do that in this. They
Right.
just make him, they turn him into the virus. They turn him into what he was trying to destroy, basically. Like he became his own villain.
They didn't know what to do with it. So they go back and forth. There's no continuity. There's no real connection. And they're just going off the visuals of the storyboard, making up as they go along. But they want to, and even the actors said, well, they don't even make sense when they're talking, but they're geniuses. They came up with the work. So as soon as it's stripped from them that the original work that we have the copyright to, and they copyright this title so extensively, once people get that they didn't actually even do this and just Plastic Man and Carnivore is their thing, then they'll realize the Wachowskis are what they are, not smart at all. And then you go back to that Bound clip again, that Bound interview where they're talking and you hear how they talk. Yeah. How Sophia Stewart talks. Yeah. Then you get the idea that failed people are brought in to steal the work so they can claim it in-house. The studios can claim it in-house by bringing failed people in to claim it. That's what it is. I'm so angry at what they did with the Brittany character and the Sati character. What a waste. What a ruined character. What a ruined character.
Anybody that's still questioning anything about Tom's story, just take this Sati character and you try to explain to me what the purpose of this character is. There's nothing that's good enough for me to, I mean, any answer I get besides Tom's,
you know what, too?
It's not good enough.
He has no direction. That poor kid had no direction. That actress had no direction.
There were no children in the original movies either. This is like the first appearance of a child besides the Animatrix. And they just blew it. Like you said, they blew it.
The character wasn't important to the Wachowskis. The character was not, she's in their fan page, she says she's just a subplot. So this poor child actress had no direction whatsoever. She wasn't important to the Wachowskis, but she's essential to the original author.
Imagine if this character was in the original film they made, and instead of having a Smith being like, you would know, Mom, it'd be Sati saying like something, so like, you, oh, of course you know, Dad, to Neo. And then that's the rebel. You see, this is just bastardizing your work. I'm sorry I'm even going into this stuff. But
Another thing,
I have to address it because this is in the Hollywood canon, and we have to dispel all this crap.
well, look at the
So that's
embellishment.
why we're doing this.
Exactly. Look at Stephen, the embellishment again. They want to make it exotic. So they take an Indian girl and make her Brittany, make her Sati. Sati is not, Brittany's not supposed to be an Indian girl. Brittany's actually a young Caucasian girl in the original work because she's the daughter of Neo. So they have to make everything embellished and exotic. So they bring in an Indian girl, you know, and that's supposed to be deeper. It's like they're small minds. They do that, and they don't give the girl any direction.
There were so many like interesting concepts that could have been explored that weren't. The fact that they said Sati was born within the Matrix, AI giving birth, why not explore that more? No,
And
she's just going to the train station to get to have a better life,
Trinity-
better than our parents. What lineage do these programs come from? What does their family tree look like? They don't have one.
Well,
The
that's
family
another
tree starts with whoever programmed them.
ripoff element they took too was Trinity was born in the program. She was not a free human, basically. She was programmed. And so what here you go. She was an anomaly which could function in and outside the program without taking the pill. See? So they used that, didn't they? They put it on Sati. They keep taking things and overlapping them as they make up as they go along, overlaying them on different characters and reversing the roles of different characters, even reversing the tunnelers. The tunnelers for Zion, for the underground. The tunnelers are not for the enemy. The tunnelers are for Zion, the underground. They access it through the tunnels. See, you don't need the tunnelers. You don't need a tunneler drilling down a Zion. Just access the tunnels. So it makes no sense, does it?
No.
And then
I'm sorry.
By having these gigantic tunnelers, they overblow everything, just like they did in Elysium.
Hey, those tunnelers are something that Elon Musk is trying to make with his boring company, isn't he?
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised at all now.
The drills were in Matrix Revolutions, and the drills are in Elon Musk's lab, or whatever lab he bought, because he doesn't create anything.
Yep, they're in Immortals, and they also put them in Total Recall. So,
oh wow! Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, but look how they embellish everything because they don't know what to do with it. They don't understand the work, so they embellish everything. That's why you have that little Indian girl. That's why you have the gigantic tunnelers. That's why in Elysium you have the giant box on the back of the guy's neck for the Neuralink enhancer. I like it calling it enhancer rather than Neuralink. Original terminology is an enhancer, you know, and just like Sense 8 and Altered Carbon. Look at the cheap titles they come up with off of the original work. Altered Carbon. It's like, that's stupid. That's like just saying what it is. You know, they really aren't. The ripoffs have such dumb titles. I'm sorry. Anyway.
All right, I'm gonna tear Matrix Revolutions another one here.
That's the scene I was shown when they were first showing me in 2009 to let me know the work was ripped off because they wanted me to take litigation they could control and throw.
Watch the sequence of cuts here. Shot of the one character, shot of the other character, back to him, and then here it just goes Neo, or it goes the wide Neo him, Neo him, Neo him, Neo him, Neo him, back and forth. It's just line after line after line.
Three cameras.
Two of them.
Three cameras. Simple, inexpensive, easy. And the producer from Hollywood made a good point. He's like, why did they change it to a well-dressed couple giving up their kid in the program? Why would they give up the kid? In mine, it's haggard people, a crowd of haggard people trying to give up their kid for a better life in the program. Doesn't look like that kid needs a better life in the program. Looks like it has a pretty good life outside the program. And they never make sense of anything. Yeah, here it is. This makes me so upset. I hate what they did to this. The actress was so bad. They ruined the scene.
Yeah. I don't know if this is it. So I had it before. I found it.
There.
No, it's not as easily. This happens quite often, Tom. there's stuff that I go and look for, and then I go to look for it again, and it's gone.
Yeah.
So there's a train. Here it is. All right.
This pisses me
So
off.
this is what it was supposed to look like. This is what the revolution scene's supposed to be.
It's what it's supposed to be. The actress is really bad at it. She
Yeah,
overdoes.
here we go. It's coming up.
Yeah, this is the train station from the Immortals. Lifted with Will Smith, who was supposed to be Neo. This is what it's supposed to be.
And I can totally see this too, especially after everything you've explained. Like, this makes sense that this is what should have been in the story.
I said it was like getting out of Saigon at the end of it.
It's a train station.
Right.
There should
And
be gatherings of people there.
get their kids to safety. They're desperate. And they're calling out. They're haggard. They're not well off.
Interesting they're having the military wearing the face masks in this.
Oh, yeah.
So that's also programming that's been in the works for quite a while. But
Mask, yeah.
and then here's the crying woman here. Take
Yes.
my son, take my person, please. And you talked about this exactly, like,
Yes, is exactly from the screenplay. God, I hated that, Stephen. I hated that actress who's doing it so badly. They ruined it. So what they said, remember, Joel Silver said they hope they use up the rest of the story. So what they're doing is they're using up the rest of the story. And they're throwing in the other one, so you can't sue them, they think, because like, look, we put it in here, we put it over here, we put it over here. We can do suicide in all these places. Isn't that something?
yeah, and they do it in such a way where it does kind of slip the mind if you're not thinking about this stuff and diving into it like we are. But
No.
it's here for you to see. Like, it's all being used.
Again, God help us.
And it
And
keeps going. This is like a several minute scene.
Oh yeah, they're gonna milk it. They're gonna milk it. They want to make sure they use up that scene. They use up the rest of the story. They use it up. God help us. But there's the haggard woman with the little girl. If you go to the original work, and I have it marked in the other one here. That's actually in a vault. The original. Okay, that's when they go forward.
Yeah, it's a far cry from train station that's whitewashed and in the middle of nowhere, and the kid's bored and wanders over to a guy that just apparated.
And absolutely, and saved on the budget. They saved on the budget.
Oh, and the train station's called Mobile Avenue. The most basic shit.
Here we go.
Mm.
Look, yeah, look right here.
Yeah,
So-
well, let me stop screen sharing.
They use the script for legend, right? Here's the train station scene. Silvery liquid mirrors are the security devices. It says short lifers, those that are not in the program, right? Crowd against well-dressed travelers. Well, they kept the well-dressed traveling couple. Jim places his hand on a scanner as its panel displays 5 credits. That's what we're using now. We're going to start using that for transactions. Jim passes through what resembles a wall of liquid, which reforms into a clear gate. Some of the crowd call to Jim and others as they pass through. Crowd, take me with you. We're related. Please don't leave me here. Now we're into legend, right? Now we're getting where they got legend. Damn Will Smith for doing it too. Will Smith knew it was ripped off. He saw there was no script. Damn Will Smith for what he did. And now he's being slapped down because he's not being so compliant. Will Smith, just like Otika, should have come forward. He knows the work's ripped off. And I'm not going to let him go on this one. It says, haggard woman, take my little girl. Jim turns and sees a haggard woman with a little girl holding a tattered doll. Haggard woman, she's your daughter, it's true. Which reminds him of the daughter he lost. It makes no sense when they take it out of context in Matrix. Jim looks moved. An unkempt man tries to run through a gate that a scanned passenger is passing through. Once in the program. The watery wall is already reforming. Midway, and the man is stuck like an insect in resin. The man screams as he neatly cut in two by the reformed liquid mirror gate. A nearby guard seems unconcerned as he approaches Jim. They got the unconcerned right. The guard points a hand device at Jim, looks down and reads it. Guard, enjoy your flight, Mr. Reese, which is what the Neuralink will allow them to do. The haggard woman walks towards Jim as the little girl with the doll scurries off. Haggard woman, her name is Brittany. Guard, family name? Information about Immortals is sold on the black market. They're always claiming family connections. Jim looks over at the little girl with the doll and ragged short lifers crowding at low wall near the terminal, staring through barbed wire at the greenery beyond. Images of the World War II Warsaw ghetto. Pods patrol the perimeter of the city from the air, which was used in Oblivion. And then what's interesting is this is a scene that got Blomkamp interested in stealing the work from District 9. He says in an interview that the scene that moved him, he didn't say he wrote it, he said writing is like pulling teeth for him. The reason he wanted to do Elysium, here's the scene that made Blomkamp want to do Elysium. I don't know if his name's actually Blomkamp, what his name is. It goes like this. Jim looks over the little girl with a tall doll and ragged short lifers crowding a low wall near the terminal, staring through barbed wire at the greenery beyond. That's what he says is what made him want to do Elysium. That's the very scene right there. Damn them all.
This is the scene that the Wachowskis were supposed to try to portray from your script.
They needed to save
illegally.
Fight it, yeah.
So this is what was supposed to be portrayed with
That's
the
it.
ripoff.
That's
and then this is what they ended up producing because they just suck at making a dime at the box office because they suck.
Right. They didn't care. They're just using up the story, just using up the elements.
So since budget cuts, they got this.
Thanks, right?
Empty train station, not bustling with military and everything.
And then they
people away.
Well, get this. Then they go back to their shot. Right? Go back to your other shot.
Yeah.
All right. Then to make it exciting, there's no stakes, there's no adventure, no intensity, just boring. Then to make it exciting, what do? They throw in the train man from Ghost.
And Mad Max.
Yes.
The pilot, the pilot from Mad Max is also the train man from Ghost, and he's in this. And he's all the same fucking character.
Why? And why? Because they're making up as they go along, throwing in whatever they're familiar with in their small minds. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
This guy, would you give up your daughter if you're living that high life? That well off?
The dialogue in this scene, the more I think about it, the more ridiculous it is.
It's ridiculous.
He says something along the lines of, "We are trying to get something somewhere where it's not supposed to be.
Right.
We need to get something somewhere where it's not supposed to be."
Improvise.
Just get to the point. Just say what you mean.
They go along and they're not given much. If you look at his eyes, he's actually going, "Oh, shice. What's my next line? What can I say? What can I say?" They show actors that it's called the actors.
What was my line? Oh yes, that is.
It's called the actor's nightmare, where the actor's on stage not knowing what to say. Look at their eyes.
Probably not even talking to Keanu here.
No, they don't.
These are probably all shot singly.
They are. They're
with
separate.
Each actor in a different location.
They're cutaways. Right.
Like, look at this bottom thumbnail here of like Sati looking up at her dad. Like, why does she care about her dad? Why do we need to care about her?
We don't. In their version, you don't. In mine, you do. You have to. Look at the room of monitors up there.
Yeah.
Lifted. And even that oracle right there does not look like Sophia Stewart.
No.
I'm sorry, it doesn't. And if her claim is that she's an African-American woman or a black woman, all right, so what? That means I look like Steven Spielberg or Bill Gates. Yeah. This is that meme. Was that put up by Elon Musk?
Yes. Or he probably like copied it and reshared it. But he put that up at what did it say? 1:19 in the morning?
Obviously, they need to feel like he needs to be covered. They need a cover for him. He's desperate. If he did that himself, he's desperate. That means the mainstream media didn't do it for him. He did it himself. He's have validity. And
the question is, who else is saying that Elon Musk is the enemy?
No one really. We're the only ones that are pointing it.
Yeah, us and maybe 2 other people.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I'd say attach the interview to this section right here. Attach it right onto him. He'll love that.
Oh, yeah, why not?
Attach it right onto it.
All right, let's do that. All right, I'm going to stop the screen
Is he-
share. But
What is he afraid of? Why is he reacting? Yeah. Yeah.
and everything being shadow banned is, it's just incredible. I can't believe he's still just okay. He took over this platform. He's changed the name of it now, and he still hasn't reinstated some. You know how long it took for some of these accounts to be reinstated? He's kind of just like he's bought the thing and he just doesn't care. Like
The show yesterday where a survivor of Epstein Island was saying how Elon Musk has just totally sterilized her accounts, froze her accounts, and everything else. He is not giving free speech on Twitter. He's shutting down anything for the Hollywood's purposes and the agency's purposes.
here's
Whatever.
another tweet I'm going to tweet to him. Why are you worried? And here's a link to our interview we're doing right now, and it says a reply to this.
Like it, and that'll be great. You'll get one view, Elon.
Yeah, just Elon. Yeah, and then he goes and he just locks it up. It's like no one else needs to see that.
They are so on, like they're watching everything we do. I'm told their contacts will tell me that. Like they're amazed to tell me, like, you wouldn't believe they're watching everything you do. They're watching even that guy, that moron named Royce Backup, right? Has the group, the Three Wise Men, ex-cons and stuff. He sent a message saying they're watching everything you do. So it's like, yeah. And they have a lady in it who's connected to FBI in their group. Another one is connected to Armed Forces or Air Force Intelligence, CIA in their group. So it's amazing they're using these failed people to form groups to harass and contact. Don't use. The anonymous is. Anyway, we're revealing it. I'm glad we're doing it. I'm glad we got smart people that are following and get it. Thank God. Because each does freaks the other side out. Each person that does sends them on the run. The other side on the run. They're on the run now, like you discovered with Linda Burrow and Kate Chilton, these names that were actually at my deposition. They're the ones that are working with Sophia Stewart and the agencies and are on the run. They're
and those are big names to get recognized for the public so that the public's aware of it. And also just for everybody else that's been following you and our interviews, that those two people are such a linchpin in this whole situation.
So they're the ones that groomed and brought in Elon Musk, along with the Wachowskis. Both Elon Musk and Wachowskis failed at what they did. They're brought in and given the mainstream PR off the charts so they can then service and steal the work. They're brought in to steal the work. Elon Musk has done nothing. Again, it kills me that he says that when he was 5 and 6 years old, the piano playing, music playing his little documentaries and stuff, that he couldn't stop the ideas coming. Again, where's your library of evidence? Where's your work? Where's your ideas? We have ours and we'll be showing it. You're coming down to see it. You'll see it when we're working on the documentary. You'll see the library part of it. So yeah. And it's funny that Disney tagged me that. Disney calls me the library. That's what they call me, the library. Isn't that something? That's what their contacts call me, refer to me as. They all have nicknames for each other. And then what's interesting too is that Mike Lang says that Disney's library is in a New Jersey warehouse and it's worth like 1.2 billion now. But that's the Immortals. This is what they claim the Disney library. And it was Mike Lang's responsibility and position as executive to be in charge of acquisition of intellectual property that Disney didn't own. So they have a hard copy of this in New Jersey warehouse, they said. Isn't that something? Yeah, that's what it's all about. Thanks, Stephen, for doing this.
It's my pleasure.
You had me make discoveries today a lot.
Yeah.
So.
And like every time we do this, we find some new material and it just adds to what we're doing here. And this is exposing the cabal and really, I mean, holding them accountable. Like we're getting all of your ducks in a row. We have all of this evidence. We have like anecdotal evidence that stacks up. Like you take all the little bits and pieces by themselves. It's like with some of them, but like the big ones that just nail it. It's indisputable in many ways. Like your high school, being in that scene, the first scene you wrote being the first scene that's shot. That's such a solid thing. And they mentioned that that's the first scene they shot.
Yes, yes. Then the first graphic they made, yeah, which is the most important one to them. But you're
Yeah.
doing,
So
you know,
yeah, we're going to continue doing this every first Saturday of the month, and it's at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time every time. And we're continuing to peel the layers of this onion back, and a lot of it is also detaching from what we think we know Hollywood is, and presenting the real story here, which is they've been just running like thieves using your work, and it's prominent throughout many studios because they're all in cahoots with each other. I said, and we agreed on this, that it could be a RICO case
yeah,
where they just go at Hollywood and just tackle them as a conglomerate.
exactly,
And
exactly.
they don't like this. They don't like us talking about this stuff, but I don't give a shit. You guys stole my work. You guys stole Tom's work. Like, we're coming for you.
That's right.
And you better be worried. And this isn't a threat. This is a promise. Like, you will be taken down. The truth will come out, and Tom and I will be victorious in truth and in Jesus Christ.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
I mean, this is a war between entities over our souls. And that's what it really comes down to with this. They want our souls. They want us to end our lives early so that they can have our souls.
Neuralink can
Don't
do
do it. I've
Neuralink.
been
Neuralink will accomplish that if we allow that to happen. That's right. We got to stop it. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
okay not to be okay. Have hope. Do
yeah.
not kill yourselves. You are more important than you know.
Yes,
Whoever needs to hear this right now, this is for you, but you are more important than you know. To the people around you, you have no idea how important you are and the effect that you have on people.
yes, yes.
And the best thing you can do to stick it to them, to stick it to the machine, is to keep living.
Right.
So
That's a really good point. And that's what human value, life, value of life, things like that. If 10 people hear this, they're concerned. The other side's concerned. They start running and resigning.
they
Watch for
won't
them.
even let two people see my tweets. Elon is that scared.
Yes,
So take that with a grain of salt.
yes. Well done. Watch reactions after this program today. Watch reactions. It'll happen. So well done, Stephen. You're doing an incredible job. I'm looking forward to next time. And
Thank you,
meet.
Tom.
All right.
Yes, we will be meeting soon. So
All right.
until the next one, class dismissed.
All right.
And you have a great rest of your weekend, Tom.
Good, my friend. Talk soon.
Take care.